Okay, welcome back. This is our lesson on 7.4, converting percents, decimals, and fractions. And, There we go. All right, so this is a nice little chart that you will want to make sure that you know. Very cool thing about this is that you can go either way. It can go from left to right or from right to left. So you can read it. If I read it from right to or left to right, I would go decimal to percent. So in that case, I'm going to move my decimal 2 places to the right. All right, if I want to go from percent over here to decimal, I move my decimal place 2 places to the left. So this is like a nice little thing. Maybe your teachers have done like Dr. Pepper. I think Dr. Pepper Rocks is one that 6th and 7th, Dr. Pepper Rules in 6th and 7th grade, your teachers might have done that. Or they might have said, please don't litter. Okay, please, the Dr. Pepper Rocks, decimal to percent, you go to the right. And then please don't litter, percent to decimal, move to the left. That might be something that you guys remember. So we're going to use those today as we do these. So write each decimal as a percent. So decimal to percent, D2P. I'm going to move the decimal place 2 places to the right, decimal to percent. So I move it over 2 places to the right, it becomes 71%. This next one, number 2. Joey, what do you think?
2 places to the right.
2 places to the right, good. So it would be 44.35%. There you go. 44.35%. Number 3, Matt? 290%. You move it over twice. Fill in the 0 there, 290%. Because we know that percents and decimals, they're just parts of 100. This is 71 hundredths, 71%. All right, moving down to the next part. Write each percent as a decimal. So now we're going, same thing, decimal to percent, D2P, but I'm going this way now. I'm going from right to left, so I need to move my decimal point to the left. Well, where is my decimal point on number 4? Noah? Where would it be if there was a decimal point there?
Right where the percent.
Right behind the 5, right? So it'd be like 65.0%, so they don't put that in there. So I move my decimal to the left twice, and what would I get?
0.65.
Yeah, 6,500, it's 0.65. Good. Number 5. Who's ready? Olivia?
0.09.
0.09, very good. And number 6, Kate? 1.25. Okay, now it wants us to go from a fraction to percents. Well, before we can move a fraction to a percent, we have to change it into a decimal. Do you guys remember how to change fractions into decimals?
We divide.
Yep, you divide. Top in, bottom out. You divide the numerator by the denominator, so I would take 4 divided by 5. Does 5 go into 4? 0 times, so I bring down, put my decimal straight up there. How many times does 5 go into 40? 8. So it goes in there 0.8 times. So now I have my decimal as 0.8. What would be my percent?
8%.
Well, I have to move it to the right. No, 80%, because I move my decimal to the right 2 places. 1, 2. Fill it in here. It becomes 80%. That's not too bad. Impossible. What do you mean?
Impossible.
You have to do all this work.
It's easy. Okay, this next one. 13 over 25. I want to change it to a decimal, so I take 13 divided by 25. How many times does 25 go into 13? 0. 25 goes into 130 5 times. You're welcome. How many times does 25 go into 50? 2. So it's 0.52 as a decimal. What would that be as a percent? 52%. Let's move that decimal 2 places to the right. Very, very, very easy. And number 3, 4 3/4. Okay, a couple ways I could do this one. I'm going to change it to an improper fraction first, just to make it so that it's the same as the rest of them. So to make this into an improper fraction, I would take 4 times 4, which is 16. I'm going to plus 3, 19 fourths. Now I can divide this one out and find what it is as decimal. Move the decimal place 2 places and have my percent. 19 divided by 4, goes in there 4 times, 30, goes in there 7 times, goes in there 5 times. So 4.75 becomes 475%. All right, because percent means out of 100. Easier way to do this one, just in case you want to try it. If I have 4 whole, that's going to be like 400%. So I'd have 400% right here. And if I have 3/4, we know that 3/4 as a decimal is 0.75. We know 0.75 would be 75%. And I can just add those together. 400% plus 75% equals 475%. So whichever way that you want to do it, you can do it either way. All right, you can choose your method. All right, moving on. No? Let me go back.
No.
Oh, wait. Writing decimals as fractions. Okay, now these are pretty easy. It says put the number to the right of the decimal point over its place value and simplify. Now I like to abbreviate, go right here. Write it how you would read it. Well, how would I read this one? If I'm going to read with real math terms, I wouldn't read 0.24. I would read it as 24 hundredths. All right? So I'd write 24 hundredths, 24 over 100. And then I simplify down to simplest terms. So 24 hundredths, I can divide by 4, I get 6. Divide by 4, I get 25. 6 over 25 is my answer. The next one, how would I read the next one, Will? 7/10. Good. Can I redo 7/10? Nope, so it's good right there. The next one, how would I read this one, Jordan? How would I read this one? 125 thousandths. Good. So I write 125 over 1,000, and I simplify. Divide it by 25, I get 5. Divide by 25, I get 40. And I can still reduce that even further. Divide by 5, I get 1. Divide by 5, I get 8. So 1/8. And the last one, how would I read the next one out loud, Zach? 4 6/10. So I'm just going to leave the 4 out there and just reduce that one. 4 3/5. All right, 4 3/5. Questions on those? Okay, moving on. Writing percents as fractions. So I'm going to go from percent to fraction. These are very, very easy. All I have to do is put the percent over 100 and simplify. So the first one, I put 42% over 100 and simplify down, which equals 21 over 50. Easy, easy, easy. Next one, 8%. I would write it as 8 over 100. Simplify.
No, it would be
2/25. It could be 4 over 50. Yes, and then you would reduce 4 over 50 down to 2 over 25. Good. And this last one. Now this one's a tricky one. Here, you see a little note here that says be careful.
No.
Look a little closer.
No, we don't have it on
Oh, but I have it up on my screen, right? It says be careful right there. Now, 3.2%. I'm going to write 3.2 over 100, but I cannot have a decimal on the numerator of a fraction. So what am I going to do to get rid of that?
Move it to the right.
Right, I'm going to multiply it times 10, so I move it over here, which becomes 32, and then if I do that there, I have to move it over here too. So 32 over 1,000 would be what I would write on this one. You have to be careful on those. You cannot have decimals in the numerator. So now I would simplify this one. I could do 16 over 500, which equals 8 over 250, which equals 4 over 125. And that would be my answer right there, 4 125ths. Okay, we good on those? So far, so good? All right.
Wait, what was
Nope.
what was the thing under the last problem?
125. The denominator is 125. All right, now your guys' turn to do a couple of these. I'm going to pause the video. Here, they're asking us to put the numbers in order from least to greatest. Well, in order to compare these things, we have to have them all be in the same form. So we have to have them either all as percents, all as decimals, or all as fractions. To me, comparing decimals is easier than comparing fractions and comparing percents. I would rather compare decimals because that's easier for me. So I'm going to turn them all into decimals. How would I turn 4/5 into a decimal? Top and bottom out. Good. 4 divided by 5 goes in there 8 times. That'd be 0.8. So that's for that one. 0.75, it's already a decimal. So I don't need to do anything with that one. Ooh, 0.715, that's already decimal too. So I don't need to do anything with that one. Move over here to this one, 7/10. Ooh, that's a nice easy one. Read it out loud, 7/10. 7/10. How would that look as a decimal? 0.7. All right. So I'm just going to turn to 0.7. And the last one, 73%, 0.73. Now all I have to do is compare them, put them in order from least to greatest. Well, which one's the smallest one? 0.7, because this would be like 0.700, right? So that's the smallest one. So 7/10 would become first over here. 7/10. That one's done. What's the next one? 0.715 would be next. So 0.715 would come next. And then we move on to the next one. 73%. And then we move over here, 0.75. So it'll be 0.75. And then the last one we have left was 4/5, or 0.8. Yep. Now, I like to keep them, put them back in their original form. That way that's what you would see like on a test. If you took a test like on the math test at the end of the year, they would go back to the original form. All right? Yes, Zach?
I just put them on percent.
If you want to change them to percents instead, you could do percents. If percents are easy for you, if I were to do this one, I'd do 80%. This one would be 75%, 71.5%. Here we would have 70%, and here we'd have 73%. So yeah, you could do it like that too, if that's easier for you. I like doing decimals, but I don't care which way you choose to do it. All right, any questions on that? Okay, your assignment today is a worksheet 7.4, and I know it's kind of cramped, it's kind of squished together, so the whole entire back of the worksheet is blank. So if you need to spread out and show your work, you can spread it on the back, or you can show work on a separate sheet of paper if you'd like to. The rest of the class period today is for you guys to work. So I'm going to pause the video here.